Test 1 2. Testing 1 2. How's that sound? Test 1 2. Testing 1 2. Testing. All right. Cool.
Hey everybody. So I'll try to give you guys a warning. Last time I know it just kind of came really quickly, but I'll try to come back and give you a warning. It's just going to be, just so you guys know, the board, obviously the Sergeant at Arms, as well as our capital police chief. So all four members. The chief's going to be doing much of the talking. The board's going to be there. We'll open it up for several questions afterwards. So everybody can ask questions to anybody. And that should do it. Any other questions before I come back? Okay. Yeah. There was none. This is basically. case there was a search and seizure. Yeah, it'll do that. You need to start learning to deal with honesty and reality. In 100 years, people will look at your picture and say, "You said it's a silver thing."
Scotty Shots throne. It's the throne of Scotty Shots. A new reality TV show. Throne of Scotty.
All right, is everybody all set? Good afternoon, I'm Tim Barber. I'm one of the public information officers for the United States Capitol Police. The entire Capitol Police Board is here today in what I think you could say is an unprecedented news conference. And the reason they're here is to talk about the many things that have been done over the last year to secure the Capitol complex, as well as protect our democratic process. Chief Manger is going to make a statement, and then we're going to open it up for a few questions. We're joined by the House Sergeant at Arms, General William Walker, who is also the chair of the Capitol Police Board, Senate Sergeant at Arms, General Karen Gibson, Architect of the Capitol, Brett Blanton, and of course, U.S. Capitol Police Chief Tom Manger. Here's Chief Manger.
Thank you, Tim. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being here. The United States Capitol Police, as an organization, is stronger and better prepared to carry out its mission today than it was before January 6th of last year. The department began significant work immediately after the 6th to fix the failures that occurred: intelligence failures, operational planning failures, leadership failures. The one thing that did not fail that day was the courage and resolve of the men and women of the United States Capitol Police. For the past year, our focus has been implementing improvements that would provide our officers with the resources that they need to fulfill their responsibilities safely and effectively. Since the attack on the Capitol, there have been nearly a dozen reports offering over 100 recommendations on needed improvements and reforms. To date, we have completed or addressed over 90 of those recommendations. And when I say completed, that means we've implemented the recommendations. When I say we've addressed them, that is that we have a detailed plan in place to implement, but we're not fully completed yet with that recommendation. So the work continues. Let me list some of the major improvements that we've made over the past year. We've improved the way that we gather, analyze, share, and use, and disseminate intelligence. We've brought on an operational planning expert from the United States Secret Service to develop a blueprint for handling large events with a focus on intelligence, assets, and coordination both internally and with our outside partners as well. We've done massive joint exercises ahead of major events. We now conduct in-person briefings for uniformed officers prior to the major events. We've provided cell phones to every one of our police officers so that they get daily intelligence reports, daily operational information on their phone every day. We've developed a formalized process to request and receive assistance from partnering law enforcement agencies from around the region. We've ordered additional equipment for our Civil Disturbance Unit officers, as well as we've conducted exercises with the National Guard and other police agencies. We've expanded our officer safety and wellness initiatives, including a peer support program, support dogs, and trauma-informed care specialists. And we've instituted a new external communication plan to improve our public information office and the speed and accuracy with which we release information. Now, as I conclude, I want to do two things. One, I want to thank the U.S. Congress for the supplemental appropriation and all of the support that they've given the Capitol Police and the Sergeant of Arms Office and the architect to assist us in completing the recommendations that have come to all of us in terms of how we can enhance the security at this campus. And I want to also thank the Capitol Police Board. Both while the architect's been around for a while, both the Sergeant of Arms have been appointed since January 6th. So as a board, we understand the urgency and the importance of ensuring that we fix the things that need to be fixed to make this campus as safe and secure as it can be. And I appreciate all of the support that I've gotten from the Capitol Police Board, and we'll just tell you that we work very well together as a team, and we have a singular mission in mind to improving the safety and security of this campus. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. Yes?
Do you have any concerns, I guess, in the short term about Thursday?
You know, the short answer to your question is no. We've gotten, we're aware of several events that are planned for Thursday. Most of them aren't of much concern to us. There's no intelligence that indicates that that there would be any problems. There's one event that is occurring, I think, down at the D.C. jail that we're paying attention to, but again, really nothing that is of great concern to us at this point. Yes?
Recently, a House staffer brought a loaded gun to Capitol Police Security into the Capitol complex. How do officers miss that? Are they facing any disciplinary action, and is that a sign of a larger problem among the department with regard to screening?
So I'll answer your last question first. I don't think it's a concern of a larger problem because this happens very infrequently, but it should happen never. And it was human error. The good news is that while the one officer missed the image, a second officer, once a line of people came through, said, "Hey, can we go back? Can we screen back a couple a couple of images?" He said, "I thought I saw something." And so within, just seconds later, we realized that there was a firearm that had come through come through the X-ray machine, and so we were able to react to that very quickly. But again, this should never happen. It was human error, and the case is under investigation. We're doing an administrative investigation, and we will determine whether the officer needs additional training, if discipline is appropriate. That decision has not been made yet, but that'll come after the results of the investigation.
What was the officer doing when he or she missed the gun?
There were that'll be part of the investigation to determine why the image was missed.
Are they currently working for the department?
Hey, Chris, we
They're
gotta-
still
we
working
gotta-
for the department. Yes.
We gotta
Yes,
spread it
ma'am.
out to the rest of the room.
Can I just have you respond to criticism from the chair of the police union about using contract employees, private contractors to help fill in the gaps because we're short about 400 officers? Just respond to that, especially because he calls it a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, I've had a fair number of conversations with the union about this issue, and we understand their concerns, and we're working with it's an ongoing discussion. We're working with them, trying to address their concerns. You'll have to ask him about why he said what he said, but we're having conversations that so we're working on their concerns.
Major, you spoke to another news outlet about the number of threats to lawmakers over the past year, or in 2021. Can you confirm, the number of threats and how many more that was than in a normal year? And what forms are the threats taking that concern you the most?
So we are looking into, and when I'm going to say 9,600 is the number. I don't know that we have a normal year anymore. It was over 8,000 last year, but a couple of years ago it was only 4,000 or 5,000. So the number has been going up steadily each year. And when I say threats, these are their phone calls, their emails, their social media, things that we find on social media. So they come in a number of ways and in varied ways. Not every one of these so-called threats rises to the level of being a crime. So when we say threats, it's basically a concerning statement that we need to look into. Some of them do rise to the level of a crime. We investigate it as a crime, and there are cases where we make arrests and there's prosecution. So
On the ones that concern you the most.
the ones that concern us the most are the ones where we have had previous contact with the individual who's making the threat, and we're concerned about their actions. It's going to be more than just an anonymous email or something. Those are the ones that concern us the most. Yes, sir.
I have a few more questions, so try to keep it to one.
I have a question for Mr. Blanton, actually. Congress appropriated $300 million or so for physical security improvements to the Capitol. How has that money been spent?
So that currently we're in, the money was appropriated for upgrades to windows and for camera systems. The windows are under design right now. You'll see the installation will start in the spring. The reason it's starting then is because it's weather dependent on when we can do it, and you need to have above freezing temperatures.
So none of those physical security improvements have been made so far?
They're under design right now.
That's everything? Windows, doors?
No, that's a different question. There have been physical security improvements that have occurred on campus. We have spent significant effort of reinforcing the doors, both exterior and interior. The windows that were damaged, including the stronger windows, those have been repaired already. We've upgraded and enhanced the kiosks. We've done enhanced security lighting and electrical systems around the Capitol for detection. So there's been significant upgrades that have occurred over this past year. Those were outside of the $300 million. $300 million was narrowly focused on windows and cameras.
All right, we got time for two more questions. We got to spread it out across the room.
I have a question. On the Capitol Police Union yesterday pointed out some testimony from the Capitol Police Inspector General in December that said that only a third of his 104 recommendations for improving security had been implemented. That seems different than what you said earlier.
No, it's not. It's absolutely consistent with what the Inspector General said. It's now actually 34 or 35 that have been finished, that are actually implemented. But there's 60 others that are in progress, that the Inspector General has acknowledged that there's a plan in place. The plan just has not been completed. So basically, we've addressed over 90 of the 103 recommendations, but only 34 are completed, but 90 have been addressed.
January 6th happens today. Is the Capitol strong enough to withstand?
I believe it is, yes.
All right. One more question?
General Walker? I have a question for General Walker.
So the committee investigating January 6th released documents showing that Mark Meadows said in a January 5th email the National Guard was on standby to protect pro-Trump people. Do you have any response to that? Or what would have given the Chief of Staff that impression?
Your guess is as good as mine, but the National Guard was never on standby to protect anybody pro-Trump or anti-Trump. You know, what we were doing on January 5th was the mission that the mayor of the District of Columbia requested us to do, and that was approved by the Secretary of the Army. You're welcome. Thank you for the question.
Yes, sir.
Just a follow-up question. You outlined many of the reforms that are underway. In your view, what do you think are some of the most significant of those reforms to you, the ones that really you think will make the biggest difference as we move forward?
There was no question in my mind, looking at all of the recommendations, that intelligence, operational planning, and getting our civil disturbance unit up to where it needs to be were the three biggest issues, and those are the ones that we worked on first, and those are the ones that, frankly, are largely completed. Thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody. And we don't anticipate doing a press release today with this, but the chief is testifying tomorrow in front of the Rules Committee, so we'll have much more about our improvements then. Thank you.
Tim, do you plan to put out his testimony ahead of time?